You've probably heard of the password game at some point. The password game is a web-based puzzle created by Neal most known for creating the website neal.fun, which includes many other little games he's created, such as Spending Bill Gates' Money, Absurd Trolley Problems, Perfect Circle, and dozens more. What I want to talk about today is how people manage to beat the password game in the least amount of characters as possible. If you aren't familiar with how the password game works, I'll summarize it pretty quickly. You start by creating a password, which is then followed by a few rules you have to follow. Eventually, the rules become more and more bizarre and begin to stack up on top of other rules. This goes on for 35 rules until you're finally finished with the game. Many people tend to finish this game with a substantial amount of characters in their password, like 151 characters, 221 characters, 101 characters. Thankfully, there isn't a rule where your password must be lower than a specified amount of characters. However, a few people did treat this as a rule. The game was added to Spearn.com on July 28th, 2023. There were many categories including minimum characters. This is the only category we'll be talking about. Despite many people completing the game regularly with 101 characters or more, the first crucial minimum character run was done on August 16th, 2023 with a 79 character password by Romerco. Now this password was pretty optimized. This isn't a password you would see someone regularly use. This was Romerco's password. Well, this was Romerco's readable password. What makes this password so optimized is many singular characters in this password are being used for multiple different rules. Rule 8 specifies your password to include Pepsi, Starbucks, or Shell. Pepsi was used so the last letter I can be used for the start of I am loved, which is for Rule 22 to include one of these affirmations. Doing this saves one character, same with Scrub and BBYMY. Rule 11 requires you to include today's Wordle answer, which changes every day. Scrub was the Wordle answer on August 16th, the same day Romerco did this run. BBYMY is one of the 149 different captchas that Rule 10 has to offer. Because this captcha has B at the start, this optimizes another character. The last optimized character in this run is May and YouTube. May ending in Y makes it connect with YouTube, saving yet another character. Technically, if you were lucky enough, you wouldn't have to go through the hassle of trying to combine words together to save characters. Kenya was the answer to Rule 14 in this run. It's possible to get the country Iran, saving one character. And chess, well, the chess solution only costed 3 characters, and out of 193 different possible chess puzzles, 11 answers only used 3 characters instead of 4 characters. Although at this rate, beating this record could be fairly difficult. If you don't know Rule 33, the length of your password must be a prime number, meaning the previous prime number before 79 is 73. So to break this record, you would need to optimize 6 characters throughout the entire game. This also heavily decreases how many more times this record could be broken. However, nearly 2 weeks later, on August 29th, Perobum submits a 73 character record. This was Perobum's password. Readable password. To start off with Wordle, the answer is caper. The last letter is capitalized because of chess, as the chess solution is RG7. Another 3-character chess solution that optimizes not only 1, but 2 characters. 7 is also used for 73, which is the length of the password and prime number. The 3 is also used for Rule 35, which is to include your current time in the password, which was set to 350. Another character is saved with I at the end of Pepsi again, and I at the start of Iran, which was the country's answer for this run, the best country you could get. Something I should mention is captchas do not work if a letter is capitalized. All letters must be lowercase for the captcha to work, hence why a character was not saved here. I am loved is left alone for this run. May and YouTube optimize another character again. The caterpillar serves no purpose here as well, as it is not required at the last moment. The reason caterpillars are in this password is because of Rule 23 when Paul, which is a chicken, hatches, and you have to feed him 3 caterpillar emojis every minute. If you don't, well, then he just dies. Now you have to start over. Same with overfeeding him. If there are 9 or more caterpillars in your password, he just gets overfed and dies. In Romerco's 79 character password, there were no leftover caterpillars in his password, while in Perobum's run, he had 1 leftover caterpillar. Also, these other emojis are required for other rules as well. Overall, this password optimized 5 different characters. Now this password could have been 71 characters. The caterpillar was unnecessary, and the hex color for Rule 28 could have been placed up here and rerolled until you get a good hex color that ends with C, which would have saved yet another character, making this a 71 character run, since 71 is the previous prime number before 73. With these run optimizations in mind, a 71 character run is definitely possible, and turns out the user This Is Not a Nickname submitted a 71 character record on August 21st, 8 days before Perobum's 73 character run. Nickname's 71 character run is much different than Perobum's run. Here's Nickname's final, readable password. You may already notice Pepsi and I Am Loved are optimized once again. Now, Nickname actually got Peru for the country instead of Iran. Both countries have the same amount of characters, however, Peru did not optimize any characters in this run apart from the atomic numbers. You may have also noticed a few characters are randomly capitalized. This is because of Rule 18, where your password must include element symbol names that add up to exactly 200 atomic numbers total. When playing this game normally, this rule isn't the worst, since you could just do a bit of math and research and get the right amount of atomic numbers. Since this is minimum characters though, you can't do this, since this takes up a few characters. So the only way to optimize this rule is by trying to get 200 atomic numbers using only what you have. People either use XXXV or VVII for Rule 9, which is the Roman numerals in your password must multiply to 35. By using XXXV, it only takes up 23 atomic numbers, as VVII on the other hand takes up 152 atomic numbers, leaving you with only 48 atomic numbers left. For the most part, it'll take some time to figure out how to perfectly have 200 atomic numbers in an extremely optimized password, but apart from that, this rule isn't that big of a problem yet. For Nickname's run, he used VVII as the Roman numerals, so one character could be saved by placing one of the V's in I Am Loved, as XXXV wouldn't have saved any characters. You would also need many more atomic numbers if you used XXXV. RU in Peru is 44 atomic numbers, and BE in Beach is 4 atomic numbers, totaling up to 200. May on YouTube Connecting saves another character, once again. The hex color was DA71F2. Now 2 characters are actually saved here. Because you need to include 71 in the password, Nickname kept re-rolling the hex color until 71 was in it, meaning 71 didn't take up a singular character at all in the password. Unlike Romerco and Perorum's run where 7 was used for chess and, well, nothing was optimized here. Nickname also re-rolled his CAPTCHA until he got CDCB3, so that 3 could be used for the current time, optimizing another character from this. In total, this run saved 5 characters, the same amount of characters optimized in Perorum's run. However, if you look back at Romerco and Perorum's run, you'd begin to see in Romerco's run, he was using a spreadsheet for every URL for Rule 24. This surprisingly makes this rule a lot easier since you don't need to spend minutes trying to find a URL that's the exact time you need. Not to mention, URLs can't have a capitalized C, D, M, L due to the Roman numeral rule. Same if the URL has too many numbers in it for Rule 5. This spreadsheet includes every URL for the game that does not break any of the rules. However, every URL is formatted to make the password exactly 200 characters by adding 1 or 2 elements at the end of a URL. This was meant for speedrunning, except these elements aren't in the URL. They were just placed after the URL, so it would be much easier. Meaning Romerco and Perorum's run used up a couple characters since they didn't try optimizing the atomic numbers. So technically Nickname saved a couple more than 5 characters. Now, inch by inch, each run has gotten more and more optimized, and it's getting to the point where there's no extra characters to spare and you have to resort to whatever you have in your password to maintain atomic numbers and other rules. So the question is, can this record be broken? Is it possible to save 4 more characters somehow, even in this state? Well, yeah, Nickname kind of broke the record on the same day. And boy was I wrong about thinking if 67 characters was impossible. Here's Nickname's 67 character readable password. I'll bold the optimized characters that have already been talked about. The country's answer for this run was Iran, which is, again, pretty much the best country you can get. However, if you look closely, I in Iran is optimized due to the Roman numerals and atomic numbers VII, as well as N in Iran being optimized due to a beginning chess move. It's a 4-character chess move, however, 2 of the 4 characters in the country has been optimized, which is shocking. Something else shocking is since Nickname did this run on the same day he did his 71 character run, the Wordle answer is still Beach. And if you look closely as well, BE is the last 2 letters in the hex color. Theoretically, it is possible to get a hex color ending in BEAC to save 4 characters from Wordle, although there is only 256 different possible combinations of hex colors ending in BEAC. And out of all 16 million different hex colors possible, if you were to check and re-roll the hex color every second, it would on average take you around 18 hours just to get 1 hex color combination ending in BEAC. In this run, Nickname's hex only ends in BE, still saving 2 characters from Wordle, but in Nickname's 71 character run, he also saved 2 characters because of 71 in his hex. You may be wondering, is 71, or well in this case 67, can it be optimized? And yeah, it is. One of the captchas is M67B3. This captcha on its own optimizes 3 characters, 67 and 3, which is used for the current time. This run optimizes 9 characters compared to his last run being 5 characters, or more if you still count the elements. Speaking of elements, P in Pepsi is 15 atomic numbers. We already know VVII is 152 atomic numbers. As much as R and A look like they're being used for an atomic number, they're not. If R in Iran is lowercase, the I in VII would turn into IR, making that 77 atomic numbers, which overshoots the atomic rule later on. So R will be capitalized for that reason, as R on its own is not an element. Now if A is lowercase, the R will be turned into RA, which is 88 atomic numbers, which, once again, overshoots the atomic rule later on. So A will also be capitalized, and A is not an element either. The chess move solution includes NE, which is 10 atomic numbers. The YouTube URL includes H and S, which is 1 and 16 atomic numbers. And finally, B and H in Beach is 1 and 5 atomic numbers, all added up being 200. You might have also noticed this long ago, but this password has a caterpillar in it. If it weren't for the prime number rule, this password would be 66 characters. But because the prime number rule exists, to beat this record, you would need to optimize 6 more characters. And this run's optimizations were impressive, don't get me wrong. Going further with this could be impossible. Is a 61 character run possible? Nickname or anyone else didn't break the record instantly like last time. Even people in the speedrunning server for the game would say 61 is barely possible and you need insane luck with many random rules like chess or YouTuber hex colors. A week had passed and nothing. 2 weeks had passed and nothing either. But on September 12th, about 3 weeks after Nickname's 71 character run was submitted, Flob submitted a new minimum character record of 61 characters. Many people did not think this would ever happen despite how the 67 character password was already just about fully optimized. But this run has many new strategies and optimizations in store for us. Here is Flob's readable password. Once again, the optimized characters that have been talked about many times are bold. To kick it off, the hex color ends in 61, which is the password's length and prime number. The 1 in 61 also connects with the time in 125, as well as the time in 25 connects with EGP, which is a CAPTCHA, 25 EGP. And it's not over. The P in the CAPTCHA is also used for Pepsi. The country for this run was Iran. Who would have thought? And finally, chess. This chess solution was 3 characters. Everything I just listed off, 9 characters were optimized throughout the entire password, along with the atomic numbers F, P, and VVII. However, the last I is IR, since R is actually lowercase in this run, making the atomic numbers exactly 200. I guess atomics are optimized as well now, all adding up to 200 once again. This password is perfect. Well, there's still a leftover caterpillar, but still. This is one of the most craziest optimized runs yet for minimum characters. Many changes that saved many more characters. Although, there is one more change that you probably haven't noticed yet. Flob did this run on September 12th, and the wordle for September 12th was Whisk. Hold on, wait. Where's Whisk? If you notice in Flob's recording, his PC time is forward by about a month, October 15th. And when you set your PC date far ahead, Rule 11 is just free. You literally don't have to do anything. Because of this, 5 more characters were technically optimized. However, keep in mind the Wordle and Nickname's 67 character run already had 2 characters optimized and theoretically 4. So who knows how big of a difference this is. But this run is insane, getting 61 characters and technically 60 without this caterpillar. Could 59 characters be possible? I mean, if one more character is saved in any way, 59 characters would be a possibility nobody ever thought would be true. The chances of getting this 61 character run alone is hard enough. Getting the country Iran, figuring out the atomic numbers, 59 characters might just be possible with enough luck. It would take hours, but it'd be worth it. Nothing new came up for a week. Nothing new came up for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, even a month. And almost 2 months. Was it truly that difficult or maybe even impossible to get a 61 character run? Did nobody want to run this category anymore? Well, it was a bit of both. On November 10th, just about 2 months after Flob submitted his 61 character run, Flob returned with a 59 character world record password. It finally happened! For a good while, this category was kind of dropped. There wasn't much to optimize in this password, though hours before Flop did this run, something big happened for the password game. Something that could possibly change this category forever. Let's just get through Flop's run real quick. The first letter of the CAPTCHA DBFEN is used for the hex color. The 3 in chess connects with the time, along with 59 being used as well for the time, password length, and prime number. And that's it. That was a few less optimizations than the 61 character run. What happened? Only 7 characters were saved in this run instead of 9 characters. The only reason you may be thinking is, did something get removed or skipped? If you thought of that, you would be exactly right. In the speedrunning server, someone discovered that Rule 14, the GeoGuessr rule, was completely free. No country names were in their password, GeoGuessr was free. Not only does this save God knows how many characters, but this also saves so much more time and completely removes the luck factor for Rule 14. In the password, the only rules you can re-roll is captures and hex colors. You couldn't re-roll GeoGuessr for a better country or other rules as well, and you can't re-roll the chess puzzle or the YouTube video's length. Flop's 59 character run did not have a country in it at all, making this the reason a 59 character run was done. Nothing was left over either, but that wouldn't matter. The prime number before 59 is 53, and by the looks of the best optimizations being performed, a 57 character run is probably the lowest you could get this password. Now, ever since nickname 67 character run was done, a few people in the speedrunning server were figuring out many ways to optimize minimum characters, or kill Paul in 4 various ways. There was a small conversation about when will people go as far as trying to get a URL that ends with part of a captcha or something else. Yeah, I think we've reached this point now. If you type all in URL : then a keyword, then YouTube's watch $V URL, you will get every YouTube video that has that specific keyword in the URL. However, you cannot blacklist anything, such as wanting the keyword to be capitalized or uncapitalized, or the other characters in the URL being lowercase, such as X, D, M, whatever breaks the Roman numeral rule, or just any rule that URLs can mess up. So you have to manually look for a URL, make sure the URL is within the length limit. By the way, the length for the YouTube rule can go as low as exactly 3 minutes and as high as 36 minutes and 20 seconds, making that 2,000 possible different seconds. You also need to make sure the atomic numbers aren't too high. That can really mess up the run, despite it can't go any higher than 48 atomic numbers due to VVII. And you can't change the Roman numerals to XXXV because that'll unoptimize a character. Eventually, around the time Flop got the 59 character record, a document for every valid YouTube URL that includes characters in a captcha or the sponsors like Pepsi or Shell, Roman numerals, months of the year, and even chess. This is so a few more characters can be optimized to possibly get a 53 character run. Something else that was also discovered is when you enter a correct hex color, the game actually allows 5 hex colors ahead and behind the actual hex color. This will be important in a minute. Eventually, someone took all 149 captchas to see which captchas could be valid for a hex code. Turns out there's only 35 different possible hex colors that include an entire captcha in it. You may be wondering why there are so few. Shouldn't the numbers keep going? And yes, there should be more hex colors. Double or maybe triple what you're seeing right now. But every time you re-roll a hex color, you will never get a hex code where the digits add up to 11 or higher. This was most likely so you wouldn't get a hex color like 888888, making Rule 5 impossible. Because of this though, there are not actually 16 million different hex colors you can get for this rule. Instead, it is lowered down to 3,634,246 different possible hex colors you can randomly get. This increases the odds quite a bit to get a hex color that's already in your password. But we're not done yet. Every captcha was taken again, but instead of every valid captcha being in the hex color, it would only be the first 4 characters of the captcha. This increases the odds much more of getting a hex color already in your password. By the end of the day, there were 2,491 valid hex codes that included the first 4 and 5 characters at the end of a hex code. Since each hex code is allowed to go ahead or behind 5 hex colors without being invalid, this heavily increases it to 27,401 hex codes out of 3,634,246 valid hex codes entirely. On average, you should be able to get a hex color that's already in your password in the span of 2 minutes. That's if you re-roll and check every second. Because of all of this, this rule could save 4 or 5 characters. Now, the question is, if all of these optimizations were in one run, would it be possible to get a 53 character run? I mean, you'd have to get lucky with chess, YouTube video length. Oh, I forgot to mention something. If you enter a URL that is 1 second longer than the time it asks you, it'll still count. Since YouTube videos will show its length, but then it might just be a second shorter. And because there are 2,000 different seconds Rule 24 can give you, getting a URL you want would be 1 in 1,000 technically. Also, there's like 60 URLs in this document, so it might as well be like 1 in 14. Okay, I just keep talking. So, has a 53 character run been done yet? Unfortunately, no. A few days after Rule 14's GeoGuessr rule broke, it was unfortunately fixed. And many of these strategies I talked about were found out after GeoGuessr was fixed. Theoretically, a 53 character run is possible using this password, but because GeoGuessr is back, a 53 character run may not happen for a good amount of time. Nothing big has been discovered for a while, and this is the furthest people have taken minimum characters. It's only a matter of time until it might just happen, or another optimization could be found for the 53 character run to be a reality. And who knows, maybe one day we'll get closer to an actual password.